The morning of March 11th, 2011, dawned like any other in Fukushima Prefecture, Japan. The coastal towns bustled with life, the air crisp with the promise of spring. Cherry blossoms were beginning to unfurl their delicate petals. Fishermen prepared their nets, children went to school, and farmers tended to their fields. Life was a tapestry woven with daily routines. Few could have imagined that this sense of normalcy was about to be shattered. The region was known for its natural beauty, a picturesque coastline. Fukushima Daiichi, the largest nuclear power plant in Japan, stood watch over this landscape. A symbol of technological progress, it was a source of both pride and unease. The plant, with its 6 reactors, was a testament to Japan's ambition. But beneath the surface, forces of unimaginable power were gathering momentum. The tectonic plates were about to unleash their pent-up energy. At 2:46 p.m. local time, the ground began to shake with a violence that defied comprehension. A colossal earthquake, registering 9.1 on the Richter scale, ripped through the seabed off Honshu, Japan's largest island. The tremors, lasting 6 minutes, were the most powerful ever recorded in Japan's history. Buildings swayed, roads buckled, and bridges crumbled. Panic surged as people struggled to comprehend the disaster. The epicenter was 70 kilometers east of the Oshika Peninsula. Coastal communities bore the brunt of the impact. Homes were reduced to rubble, their foundations liquefying. The tsunami warning system could not outrun the sea. Monstrous waves, some over 50 feet high, were unleashed. These walls of water raced towards land, engulfing everything. The tsunami, meaning harbor wave, etched its mark on the day's tragic narrative. The tsunami slammed into the Fukushima coastline with an apocalyptic roar, overwhelming coastal defenses and transforming the landscape in an instant. Seawalls, designed to withstand even the most severe storms, proved woefully inadequate against the sheer power of the waves. Entire towns were swallowed whole, their structures reduced to debris, their streets transformed into raging torrents. At the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, a sense of disbelief mingled with growing alarm as the tsunami warning sirens blared. The plant, situated on a coastal plateau, was protected by a 19-foot seawall, considered a formidable barrier against even the largest recorded tsunamis. But the waves, driven by the force of the earthquake, surged over the seawall with ease, flooding the plant's crucial infrastructure. The tsunami's impact was swift and devastating. Backup generators, vital for maintaining the cooling systems of the reactors in the event of a power outage, were inundated and rendered useless. The plant's critical safety systems, designed to prevent a nuclear meltdown, were compromised, setting the stage for a cascade of failures that would have global repercussions. As the tsunami receded, leaving behind a trail of devastation, the true extent of the crisis at Fukushima Daiichi became chillingly apparent. The plant's 3 active reactors, units 1, 2, and 3, had lost their primary and backup sources of cooling. The reactor cores, containing highly radioactive fuel rods, began to overheat as the cooling water boiled away. Without adequate cooling, the temperature and pressure inside the reactors continued to rise uncontrollably. This led to a series of hydrogen explosions in the reactor buildings, releasing radioactive material into the atmosphere. The explosions, captured on live television, sent shockwaves around the world, transforming the disaster from a national crisis into a global nuclear emergency. The situation inside the reactors deteriorated rapidly. The zirconium cladding surrounding the fuel rods reacted with the steam, producing highly explosive hydrogen gas. The lack of adequate cooling also led to a partial meltdown in all 3 reactors as the superheated fuel rods melted through their containment vessels. The release of radioactive isotopes, including cesium-137 and iodine-131, posed a significant threat to human health and the environment. Section 5, Lives Uprooted, Stories of Loss and Resilience. In the wake of the disaster, over 150,000 residents were evacuated from their homes within a 20-kilometer radius of the Fukushima Daiichi plant. The evacuation, chaotic and heartbreaking, forced families to leave behind their homes, belongings and livelihoods, uncertain if they would ever return. The human toll of the Fukushima disaster extended far beyond the immediate impact of the earthquake and tsunami. The loss of loved ones, the destruction of homes and communities, and the invisible threat of radiation left deep scars on the collective psyche of the nation. Stories of survival, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit emerged from the ruins. There were the firefighters who bravely battled the blazes at the power plant, knowing the risks they faced. There were the doctors and nurses who worked tirelessly to treat the injured and care for the evacuees. And there were the ordinary citizens who showed extraordinary compassion and support for their neighbors in need. Section 6. The Invisible Scars Radioactive Contamination. The Fukushima disaster released a significant amount of radioactive material into the environment, contaminating the air, soil, and water. The most concerning isotopes were cesium-137, which has a half-life of 30 years, and iodine-131, which has a half-life of 8 days. These isotopes pose a risk to human health through ingestion, inhalation, or skin contact. The Japanese government implemented strict measures to monitor and control the spread of radiation. Food and water supplies were carefully screened, and decontamination efforts were initiated in affected areas. However, the task of cleaning up the contamination proved to be daunting, time-consuming, and expensive. The long-term environmental consequences of the disaster are still being assessed. The radioactive contamination of the ocean raised concerns about the safety of seafood, and the impact on marine life remains a subject of ongoing research. The disaster highlighted the need for robust nuclear safety protocols and the importance of environmental monitoring. Section 7. A world re-evaluates the global impact. The Fukushima disaster sent shockwaves through the global nuclear industry, prompting a worldwide reassessment of nuclear safety standards and energy policies. Countries like Germany and Switzerland announced plans to phase out nuclear power entirely, while others, such as the United States, initiated comprehensive reviews of their existing nuclear facilities. The disaster highlighted the inherent risks associated with nuclear power, particularly the potential for catastrophic accidents in the event of natural disasters or human error. It also underscored the challenges of waste disposal and the long-term environmental consequences of nuclear contamination. The Fukushima disaster served as a stark reminder that even the most advanced technologies are not immune to failure, and that the consequences of such failures can be profound and long-lasting. It sparked a global debate about the future of nuclear energy, with proponents emphasizing its low carbon emissions and opponents highlighting its inherent risks. Section 8. Rising from the Ruins. Rebuilding Fukushima. In the years since the disaster, Japan has embarked on a massive effort to rebuild Fukushima and revitalize the affected communities. The government has allocated billions of dollars for decontamination, infrastructure development, and economic recovery programs. The decommissioning of the Fukushima Daiichi plant is expected to take decades and cost hundreds of billions of dollars. The rebuilding process has been slow and challenging, but it has also been marked by resilience and a spirit of renewal. New homes, businesses, and schools have been constructed, and efforts are underway to attract new residents and businesses to the region. Fukushima is striving to become a model for disaster recovery and sustainable development. The disaster has also spurred innovation in renewable energy. Japan has set ambitious targets for increasing its reliance on solar, wind, and geothermal power, reducing its dependence on nuclear energy. The Fukushima region, once known for its nuclear power plant, is now emerging as a hub for renewable energy development. The Section 9. Lessons Etched in Time, a Legacy of Fukushima. The Fukushima disaster stands as a profound reminder of the immense power of nature and the importance of preparedness, resilience, and international cooperation in the face of such events. The lessons learned from this tragedy continue to shape global perspectives on nuclear safety, disaster management, and the delicate balance between technological progress and environmental sustainability. The disaster highlighted the need for robust nuclear safety regulations, transparent communication during emergencies, and a comprehensive approach to disaster preparedness and response that includes the protection of critical infrastructure and the well-being of evacuees. It also underscored the importance of investing in research and development of safer and more sustainable energy sources. As we reflect on the 10th anniversary of the Fukushima disaster, we honor the memory of those who lost their lives and acknowledge the resilience of those who continue to rebuild their lives and communities. The legacy of Fukushima is a sobering reminder that the pursuit of progress must always be tempered by a deep respect for the power of nature and a commitment to safeguarding the well-being of both present and future generations.